Okay, let's go ahead and stand up at the back of your mat. Feet under your pelvis, toes facing forward, and just look down. Notice where your feet are. And just shift your body side to side a few times. Just notice where your weight is wanting to be, and then bring it to center and shift forward and shift back. And notice how the muscles, what muscles are starting to engage. Where do you feel your weight more? Where do you feel like it's not happening? So let's bring it back to center and really ground all four corners of your foot down into the mat. Press your big toe mound down, press your pinky toe, press your heel down, and then find that lightness in your arch. And then really press your feet down and see if you can grow your spine a little bit longer and taller. Imagine that the very top of your head can reach up to the sky, and feel how your abs already started to work and we didn't even do anything. Take a big inhale up. Exhale everything out. Take a big inhale up. Exhale to a very slow roll, go over to your toes. So you can bend your knees here and roll forward any amount that feels comfortable for your body. Maybe it's toes to the floor, maybe it's hands to your legs, maybe you go all the way down, and you can keep your knees bent. Actually, let's bend the knees a little bit and then just do a little bend and straighten of the knees. So anywhere your hands can touch on the floor or on your legs, but just try to have a little bend and straighten. And notice how you're going to find a little more release in your low back. So just taking it gentle as we wake up the body. And then from here, you can lengthen the legs and begin to slowly walk your hands out to a plank. So you also have the option to go down to your knees here. You could walk out from your knees or all the way into your plank position. So you could be holding and supporting from your knees or up lengthened position. So just holding here in our plank for a moment, drawing the abs up and in. Take a big inhale on your exhale. Let's lift your hips high for a downward dog. And just take a moment there, running your knees out. Slide the shoulders away from your ears. And then with your breath, rolling your spine forward into your plank and then back into your downward dog. So just waking up the body, starting to take a little stretch, rolling forward into your plank and into your downward dog. One more time, flowing forward and into your downward dog. And then from here, let's just take the right leg up, bend the knee, open the hip. Take that stretch of the right side oblique. So if this feels too much on your wrists, you can also just sit this one out for the moment. And then we're going to square the hips and bring that right foot forward into the hands. So you could also bring your back knee down. If it doesn't feel good up, you can bring that back knee down. And then reach your right hand up to the sky. And just gently open here. Unraveling in your spine. Reach the fingertips up. And then bring that hand back down to the mat. Step the right leg back in your plank or on your knees. And float the right leg up and little tiny pulses. So you could also have a knee down and still just pulse the leg up. And then bring that foot down, taking it back into your downward dog. Lifting the sits bones high. We'll reach the left leg up to the sky, bend the knee, open the hip. Take a breath there, letting the weight of the leg pull you open through that left side oblique and the hip flexor. And then square the hips, step that left foot through to the hands, having the back leg straight or bent knee, and then take your left hand up to the sky. So always modifying wherever feels best for you this morning. We'll bring that left hand down, step the left leg back. You could also have the right knee down, bring the left leg up and little tiny pulses up, making sure your shoulders are over your wrists. And we'll lower that leg down, bend both knees, press back, take a child's pose. And reach those fingertips long to the front. You're letting your chest melt to the floor. You can have your knees a little wider than your pelvis so your chest can melt down. And your sits bones reach to your heels. Take a breath there. Inhale on your exhale, roll yourself up onto your hands and knees. So your hands are underneath your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips, and round your spine into your cat stretch, dropping your tailbone down, dropping your head down, pushing your spine up to the sky by pulling your belly button up into your spine. And then exhale, take it to your cow. Widen your chest, pull your tailbone up, top of your head up. Inhale, exhale, into your cat. And into your cow. And then one more time, into your cat. My spine is feeling like it needs extra stretch. And into your cow, shining the heart forward. And then coming back into your neutral spine. So staying in your neutral, let your belly just relax. So your belly button just relaxes out, and then magnetize your belly button up into your spine. So feel how your low abs just tighten all the way up. Let everything hang out so your belly just relaxes, and then draw your belly button up into your spine. Activate up through your pelvic floor, and then relax this time. This time when you lift and hold, you're going to extend the right arm forward, left leg backwards. And bring it back to center. Left leg, left arm forward, right leg backwards. So just moving opposite arm, opposite leg at your pace, using your breath to reach your opposite arm, opposite leg away from your body, keeping your spine still, trying your best to not shift side to side. So you want to keep your cup of water balanced on your sacrum as you move the arm and the leg, keeping the neck long, extending out at the top of your head and reaching long through your tailbone. So your spine is always just lengthening and supported, pulling those abs up and in. The next time we get to right arm, left leg, you're going to stay there and hold. Lengthen out of your fingertips, lengthen out of your toes. Magnetize your abs up and in and try to keep your pelvis still, and just a pulse of the arm and leg up. So a little bit of movement to challenge the stability. Little lifts, lift, lift. Hold it here, and then bring it all the way back to center. Excuse me, left arm, right leg. Lengthen, and then little tiny lifts up. We're going to go back to the other side after this. 3, and then bring it back to center. Again, back to right arm, left leg. This time, open the arm and leg away from the body, bring it to center, then round your spine to pull the knee and the elbow to touch under your belly. Reach your arm and leg long. Open them away from the body, the arm and leg move away. You bring it back to center, starting point, and then round your spine to knee and the elbow touch, and extend one more time like that. Open, center, round your spine, knee and the elbow touch, extend back out, and bring it back to center, and left arm, right leg. So moving to the other side, you move the arm and leg away from the body, bring it back to center, round your spine for the knee and the elbow to connect under your belly, and extend. So again, just challenging your stability to pull your abs into working. One more. Bring it back to center, and bring hand and knee down and into your cat and into your cow and back to center. And let's actually just slowly lower yourself all the way down onto your belly. So just make your way all the way down onto the mat. That wasn't a very smooth transition, but we're all the way down. Fold the forearms together and let the forehead just relax on the hands. So if you feel your body is propped up, your forearms are too close to your body, you want to move your arms a little bit forward so you can have your spine fully lengthened and relaxed. Just shake your pelvis out a little bit. Let go of any tension that's sitting in your sacrum. Mine holds a lot of tension, so this feels super excellent for me. Let's connect the hip points and the pubic bone down into the mat. So your pelvis is in neutral while you're laying on your belly. Pull your belly button up off of the mat, just like when we did in cat-cow, or sorry, prior to cat-cow. We pulled the belly button up and then we let it relax. One more time like that. Pull the abs up and in. This time, float the right leg up off the mat as you do that. And lower, and left leg. So small movement. This doesn't need the leg to go high. We're alternating leg lifts. And Laura, I want you to focus on first pulling your belly button into your spine and then engaging your glute to lift the leg. So don't think about height. Think about the leg pulling long out of your pelvis and making sure the muscles are engaged to do the work. There should be no compression in your low back. How long can you keep your spine? And we're gonna hold the right leg up. Keep the abs in and tiny little lift of the right leg. Small lifts. Make sure the hip point is pressing down on the right side and the left side. And lower that leg down, left leg lift. I love these small focused movements because it's not a lot to think about, but a lot of action happening. And lower that leg down. Draw the abs in. So you can either stay with single leg, but if it feels good for your low back, we'll float both legs up. Upper body is completely relaxed and lower. So feel free to stay with one leg at a time, or both legs are lifting and lower. So you engage the abs and then engage the glutes and lengthen. Always working to keep your spine in its neutral position, no compressing in the lumbar, so don't feel like those legs have to lift a ton. Lower the legs down, shake the pelvis out. Now we'll lift the legs, hold, and stir the legs away from each other. They're going to stir out, up, and around. Pulling your belly button in, upper body is completely relaxed, and then reverse it. So you're supported from your front side, so you can feel your abs lifting up and in, and then lower both legs down, shake your pelvis out. Extend the arms out to the front of the body, or out to the front of the mat. Slide the shoulder blades away from the ears as if you could put your shoulder blades in your back pockets. Float the right arm and the left leg up off the mat. Think about length and engage the glute. Slide your shoulder away from your ear and lower down. Other side. So opposite arm, opposite leg, and lower. Your neck is just extended out from your spine. So your head isn't down, but it's not lifted either. It's just that extension of the spine. So if this feels good and the spine is staying still, we can lift both arms and legs. If not, you stay right where you are, and then little flutter kick, long neck kick. So you're swimming. So you could stay with just raising opposite arm, opposite leg, or you're in your full swim here for 5, 4, abs in 3, 2, and last one, lower everything down, and then gently press yourself back to your child's pose. Lengthen. Letting your forehead melt to the mat, pushing your sits bones back. Breathing into your lungs, expanding that space between the ribs. Take one more breath there. And exhale, you're going to roll yourself all the way back up, and we'll come to sit on your bum, and we'll grab your ring, a band, anything to help wake up the back. So whatever you have near you, and then we'll go into our stretch. Let the back of the legs, they can press down into the mat, but if that feels like you don't have the space in the hamstrings, you could bend the knees too. So it's whatever is going to allow your spine to get long. Don't focus on the legs as much. I want you to think about your spine is long. Reach the arms forward, slide the shoulder blades away from the ears. So you're either going to press in or you're going to pull apart. So whatever you have, or you could just have an imaginary ring in your hands. Lift and lengthen out of your pelvis. Draw the abs in, and then we'll just squeeze. So as you do this, even with an imaginary ring, you can feel that activation keep going through your mid to lower traps. I want you to think about pulling your shoulder blades down and your back muscles working to find that activation. Think about sitting up a little bit longer and taller. Start to think about lifting your pelvic floor. So like you can lift your pelvic floor up off of the mat. So you start to find that Kegel, and then it pulls those low abs in, and your belly button draws a little bit closer to your spine. Hold the ring in, or whatever that activation is. Tuck your pelvis and slightly roll back. So maybe it's 1 inch, maybe you're rolling back halfway. Where is it available for you this morning? And then come up to sit. Relax the shoulders, scoop and roll halfway back. So maybe it's 1 inch, maybe you go halfway. Just make sure you're engaging through your abs. A couple more like that. Just a slight tuck of the pelvis, pull the belly in, and even maybe try go a smaller movement and see, can you get a little bit deeper in your abs? Maybe sometimes we just go to a position that we always go to, but maybe changing that up is going to allow a different activation and a deeper activation. Hold this one back to where you can maintain it, and then little squeezes of the ring or an imaginary ring. Maybe if that little bit of activation, you can go a little bit deeper, maybe not. You stay where you feel supported in your back. Relax the shoulders away from the ears for 3, 2, and last one. Slowly roll back, vertebra by vertebra, imprinting your spine all the way down into the mat. Taking a long stretch back. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to reach the ring up to the sky. You're holding your hands right over your shoulders. Tiny tuck at the chin, draw your belly in, and slowly start to peel yourself. Vertebra by vertebra, up, up, up and over. You can always use your hands to support to give yourself a little extra push if you need to. Reaching forward, scoop and roll back halfway again. So it's a sliding under of your tailbone. So you're protecting in your back, draw your abs in, and then we're gonna float the left leg one tiny inch up off the mat and lower and left. So the smaller the movement, the more you're probably gonna be able to focus on your abs, and that's where we wanna be. Small, lower, and lift. So you could also be more seated up. You don't have to roll back far to get that activation. Where do you find your deepest abdominal activation? We're gonna do one more each way. And bring it back to center, and then dive up and over to the toes and hook it around your feet. Take a stretch forward. We're gonna go into our stretch. So you're gonna hook whatever you have around your right foot, and then just gently lower yourself down onto the mat. And just start to find your body relaxing here. Not relaxing as in, let's just mellow out, but relaxing as in your leg isn't like, oh my God, what are you doing to me? Let your leg mentally prepare to get a little stretch in here, reaching your right sits bone forward, right hip point forward, and just a little bend and straighten of that right leg. So starting to tell the hamstring, it's okay. We're going to give it just a little bit of loosening here. So then your abs can be the star of the show. And then if it feels good, start to hold your leg lengthened. And then with each breath, maybe you'll be able to pull your leg back just a touch closer to your body, but not yanking it, being very gentle with it since this is our first real stretch of the morning and it's still early. And just breathe into it. So any amount, whether it's closer to the floor or closer to your face, whatever is the best stretch for you. Reaching the right sits bone forward. And breathe. Let's take one more breath there. And we'll release the hamstring stretch and bring it to the tip of the toes here. So let your leg go down a little bit further so your hamstring isn't feeling like it's stressed anymore. And pull the toes towards your shin. So we're going to stretch out the calf, point and flex the foot. And working on the ankle mobility. And then when it feels good, you can hold the toes towards your shin and breathe into your calf. And then bring it back to the center of the foot. Keep pushing your left hip point down and then externally rotating the right leg. Any amount out to the side where you can start to feel your inner thigh start to stretch, but not falling over to the floor. You want to keep your left side anchoring you into the mat and then just gently lengthening out through the right inner thigh. Can you, if you want to deepen into that stretch, can you push out through your right heel? And just breathe into it. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Shoulders are relaxed. And on your next exhale, we'll sweep the leg up to the sky. Anchoring the back pocket down, pushing the right sits bone away from you, and the leg come just a little bit across the body to stretch to the side of the hip and to the side of the leg, not letting the right back pocket leave the mat. So your pelvis is evenly planted into the floor and that leg is just taking a little stretch across the body. Shoulders melting down. And let's take one more breath there. And exhale and let the leg fall across the body, looking in the opposite direction. Just for a gentle spinal twist. So keeping both shoulders planted on the mat and the leg just falls a gentle amount across. That's the measuring point, a gentle amount. And then extend the right leg straight out and feel how much longer it feels than the left leg. Holding on to whatever your stretching helper is and roll yourself up. And we'll catch on to the left foot. Rolling all the way down and just gently coming in to the left hamstring stretch. So think about anchoring your pelvis down into the mat. You're anchoring the right back of the leg down and just starting to pull the left leg back a little bit, and you can add that bend and straighten. So just telling that left hamstring, it can let go a little bit and find a little bit of length. And then lengthen and hold it up. And with your breath, bring it back a little bit further. And breathe. This hamstring is not as happy as the other one. Not that either are happy, but this one's definitely not feeling so great this morning. And on your next exhale, we'll release that and hooking it on to the left toes for our calf stretch. So let the leg come down a little bit and start to pull the toes towards the shin, heel to the sky. And if it helps, you could soften the left knee. You want the focus to be on the calf. And add that bend and flex. So point and straighten the foot. Working on ankle mobility and deepening into the calf stretch. And then when it feels good, just hold the toes towards the shin, pushing the heel up to the sky. And breathe. And let's release that, hooking it to the center of the foot. Externally rotate the leg out to the side and let it gently fall out for your inner thigh stretch. Shoulders relax. And if it feels good, pressing out through the left heel and anchoring the right hip down. Without letting the leg just fall to the floor. So you want that active stretch. And on your next exhale, we'll sweep the leg up to the sky, anchoring the back pocket down, letting the leg come a little bit across the body, stretch to the side of the hip. Shoulders relax. So noticing that there's no tension anywhere else in the body. And breathe into it. Let's take one more breath. And on the exhale, you can melt into your spinal twist, letting the leg fall across the body, any amount where both shoulders can stay on the floor. So the upper body stays planted on the floor and that leg comes just a little bit across the body. You can look towards the left fingertips. And then coming all the way back to center, let the legs go long, shake them out. Everything should be feeling long and loose here. And bend the knees, bring the feet to the mat. Let's set up our neutral spine. So take a couple arch and imprints. So just arching your spine and imprinting your low back into the mat. So you feel the two extremes of your spine, and then let your body naturally melt into its neutral position, which hopefully it just wants to go into. Let your sacrum be heavy into the mat, hip bones allowing the boot bone, have that little bit of space underneath your low back. And then, because I feel like I need to this morning, take your thumbs onto the back bottom ribs, fingertips onto the front ribs, and then just try to pull your back bottom ribs away from your pelvis a little bit and let your front ribs soften into your body. Sometimes we don't notice that, but it is going to put us into a better neutral position. The front ribs have to soften down, the belly pulls into the spine, into that low back space, and let your arms just release by your sides. Notice, let's just take a moment of breathing where you can lift out of your pelvic floor. Inhale. Then exhale, let's really draw the belly button down and in. Now lengthen the arms up to the sky. Fingertips over your shoulders, keeping your pelvis still. Inhale, exhale, fold forward from the rib cage, reaching your fingertips towards your heels. So you see that your hip points are in line with your boot bone, and then lower back down. Inhale, exhale. We all know this, but sometimes it's a good reminder of the very, very basics of keeping your pelvis still as we lift the head, neck, and shoulders. So you're supporting your neck from the upper abs. You have a little line between your chin and your chest. So you have that tiny tuck of the chin to cradle the line. Hold this one forward. and little reaches forward. So you feel your upper abs supporting you. If your neck is ever sore, you keep your head on the mat and lower all the way back down and release your arms by your sides. Keeping your pelvis in neutral, let's float the right leg into tabletop. You could always do single leg, and then we're gonna float the left leg up to meet it. So you could keep one leg on the floor or both legs are up, draw the abs in. March the right toes forward and float the leg up. And then the left toe forward. So into a very simple march, taking it at your pace. Actually go slow to start because sometimes that slower movement is actually more challenging. You also could be doing one leg on the floor and alternate. So one foot could be on the floor while the leg goes down and then the other leg comes back up. So if it feels like it's too much on your low back, some days are different than others. Sometimes my low back isn't feeling as happy, especially with all this shooting. So just remembering, even if you're always doing both legs up, listen to what your body is telling you this morning. Last one, each way of tapping the toes forward and floating up. Shoulders are relaxed and bring it all the way back center. Give your knees a little hug. And we'll bring the legs back into tabletop. So if it feels good, you bring your feet down first and regroup to really engage your abs. So then bring the legs back to tabletop. Reach your hands up to the sky. Collarbone is wide. You're plugging your shoulder blades down your spine. With the head on the floor to support first, extend your right arm backwards, left leg forward, and draw it back to center. Left arm backwards, right leg forward. So we're waking up the brain also by this opposite arm, opposite leg, which we've done in our, when we were on our hands and knees. So it's the same exact thing we did on our hands and knees. Now we're just doing it on our back. If you feel anything going into your low back, keep the leg closer to the sky and you can imprint your spine a little more. So I'd always err on the side of imprinting your spine, never arching your spine. So ideally you keep neutral, and if not, you could imprint. And if it feels good, you could lift your head, neck, and shoulders. We have 5 more, and you can reach with the head, neck, and shoulders lifted. But if that's not feeling good for your neck, keep your head on the floor. Today, I feel like my head wants to be on the floor. Let's do 2 more each way. As the arm is reaching back, you're thinking about plugging the shoulder blade away from the ear. Last one each way. Pull the belly in. Bring everything back to center, hug it and relax. Take the knees, stir them in the hip sockets so you can let go of any hip flexor tension. And then reverse your circle. And bring it back to center, legs back to tabletop. Reach the hands up to the sky. Inhale, on your exhale, fold forward from the rib cage, reaching your fingertips forward, and you could always keep your head on the mat, squeeze the thighs together, pull your abs in, and you're gonna dip your legs just a little bit forward and then float them back up to the tabletop. You dip forward any amount that's available for your body and bring it up. So if you want, your head is on the mat and then the legs don't go quite as far, because you'll notice that it starts to pull in your low back, and we don't want that. I'm sure you'll never notice that because the abs are so engaged, but I felt it in mine. Inhale and exhale to drag the legs up and pulling deep from your low belly. So you can always be doing this single leg. You don't have to do both legs. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Pull the low abs up and in. Last one. And bring it all the way back up. Hug it all the way in and relax. Let's bring the legs back to tabletop. We're going to come into hundreds prep. Inhale, on your exhale, you're going to press your hands towards your hips and extend your legs at a high diagonal. Draw the knees in, head back down. Inhale, exhale. And back in. Inhale, exhale, we lift the head, neck, and shoulders and reach and hold for the hundreds. You're going to start to pump the arms. You also could have both legs on the floor and just pump your arms. Inhaling for 5 and exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. You could also have it just in tabletop. And if you feel like you need extra challenge, you could have those legs close to the floor. So wherever you're at today is where I want you to find the challenge that's best suited for your body. Inhale, big. Inhale. And exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhales, big. Inhale. and exhale. So that's the awesome thing about being at home, which I remind you guys about, is the challenge is just for you. No one has to see it. It's where do you feel strongest? Inhale and exhale. You can always have the head on the floor. If it's straining in your neck, you put your head down. You never want to feel the neck strain, or you can lift it up and down. Inhale and exhale. Last set. Inhale and exhale. And then you're going to hug everything all the way in and relax. Let your head just gently rock side to side, letting go of any tension. And we'll just bring the feet to the mat. Feet are hip width apart, and we're going to come into some bridging here. So arms are by the sides, feet hip width apart and grounding down, just how when we stood at the beginning of class and you found your foot grounding all the way down into the mat. I want that same sensation here. Before we go anywhere, I want you to feel as if your heels, without moving, energetically could drag towards your sits bones, and you already feel the back of your leg starting to activate. Then energetically, your inner thighs magnetize towards each other. They're not moving, they're hip width apart, but there's an energy. Keep that energy as you tuck your pelvis and slowly start to peel your hips up to the sky, which probably feels nice after we've just been in our neutral and legs up position. Lifting the hips up, feel your bum engage, and pull your pubic bone slightly towards your face, because that's probably just going to put you in a better neutral. And then imprint your spine vertebra by vertebra down into the mat. Inhaling at the bottom. Exhale, peeling all the way up. Lifting the hips to the sky. Love the bridge because it can be very supported. Wide collarbone. There's nothing underneath your neck. Your eyes are to the sky. And then imprint your spine vertebra by vertebra down. And slow and focused is really just doing a lot of muscle isolation. So we don't have to run through it because it's going to allow you to get deeper into those muscles the slower and smoother you go. And imprinting all the way down. The next one is going to stay up to the sky. Peel all the way up. Lift your hips up. Energetically, the inner thighs magnetize towards each other. Push the hips a little bit higher. Tuck your pelvis slightly. And then with your spine in that neutral position, you're going to lower your hips down to almost touch the mat and then press up and squeeze. So I like going slow in that sense that you can find the squeeze in the glute. You can hold it, not let it go. You're isolating the movement and then lift and squeeze. You're isolating the muscle, not the movement. You're isolating the muscle. You're keeping it activated as you slowly lower and slowly lift. So taking it at a pace that feels good for you, but sometimes that slow motion actually gets deeper into the muscle and feels a little worse, which is great. Faster, you can kind of zone out and maybe not focus quite as much. So we're going to slow it down more like you're moving in molasses. So your muscles are activating even deeper. Keep pressing the big toe mound down into the mat. Keep pressing that pinky toe down. And then hold your hips up to the sky. Resting at any point if it feels like it's going into your low back. And then tiny lift of your hips. Tiny pulses up. So if you feel anything in your low back, sometimes you need to pull your pubic bone more towards your face. Notice when you do that, are you feeling more activation where the hamstring and the glute is meeting? Maybe you bring your fingertips to that point where the butt is meeting the leg. And is it activating right there? And then hold it up. We're going to lift the heels up to the sky. Resting at any time it goes into your low back. Walk your toes back towards you just a touch. And then see if you can push your hips just a touch higher, keeping your head up to the sky. You don't want to turn your neck when your hips lifted. If you need to turn your neck and rest your bum down. Then tap your butt down, press up and squeeze. Tap down, press up and squeeze. You're almost touching your butt. You almost feel the mat and then you go right back up. I don't know. I think this slow, for me at least, is feeling a little more evil. My inner thighs, my glutes, they're feeling way more on fire at the moment. Now, also bring a little bit of awareness. What's happening in your heel? Is it falling out or is it staying straight up? Not letting your ankle collapse out. Press the big toe mound down. There's energy running between the inner thighs. It's like opposing magnets that want to pull together, but they can't. Hold the hips all the way high and tiny pulse up. Pulse up, hold, up, hold. You also could have your feet on the floor. If it doesn't feel good with your heels up, keep your feet on the floor. Rest whenever you need. You could come down and hug your knees into your chest. Lift, hold, and hold it up. Tap just the right heel down and lift. Tap just the left heel down and lift. So the pelvis is staying very still and just one heel is lowering down. I hope you guys are feeling your bum because I definitely am. And I'm really loving this slow motion because the hamstring glute insertion point is really feeling a lot of activation today. Breathe. Keep pulling your pubic bone towards your face. Last one. Both heels lifted. Tiny pulse up again. Pulse, pulse, up, hold, hold, hold. Stand. I hope you feel your bum. For 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Drop your heels. Rest if you need to. Otherwise, walk your feet to the outside edges of the mat. Pull your hips up a little bit higher. Pull your pubic bone towards your face. So I want you to be very aware of your form. And notice how when you're in your good form, your bum is feeling the whole booty, all the glute complex is working. Lift your toes up, dig your heels down. And now tap your bum down, press up, squeeze. Lower, press up, and really engage the glutes. Exhale. Slow motion, lift, squeeze, and hold. Keep the collarbone wide, neck long, jaw relaxed. Oh my God, Stan, I'm just telling you, my whole situation is hurting because of you. So thanks for suggesting a little more focus on the bridging. Hold this one all the way up. Pull your pubic bone towards your face. Tap your knees to touch. Squeeze your inner thighs and pulling them through molasses. Open the knees back out. Squeeze inner thighs like you have a super strong lobster claw rubber band around your thighs. And you're pulling it apart and resisting it as it comes back in. Pivoting on the heels. So any amount that feels good for you, rest where you need to. Hug your knees into your chest if you need a little stretch. Hold the knees open and small pulse up. Up, hold, up, hold. For 5. And last one. Oh my gosh. Drop your toes, walk your feet all the way back to center. Roll your spine all the way down to the mat. I need to take one stretch before we go into single leg. Give your knees a little hug because I don't want it to go into your back. I want you to come back into it super strong with a single leg. And then we'll bring the feet back down, back to your hip width apart. We got one more little set here. So if it feels like it's too much with single leg, you just keep both feet down. Roll your hips all the way up again. And we'll float the right leg into tabletop and place it back on the mat. Left leg to tabletop, place it back on the mat. So remember, you can just be holding your bridge right here. You don't have to lift the leg if it's not feeling good for your low back. The next time the right leg is up, it's going to stay up. You're going to hold it here, extend the leg up to the sky, and then push your hips up a little bit higher. Left foot can be flat. You could also lift the toes. Small lift of the hips, press up, hold, up, hold, up, hold. So that left glute and hamstring is working like crazy. Your eyes are to the sky. You're not ever turning your neck in this position for 5. Last one, hold. Place that foot gently back on the mat. Recommit to your hips staying up. And then we'll bring the left leg to table. Extend the leg up to the sky and small up, hold, up, hold. You're lengthening your left sits bone forward. Collarbone is wide for 5. And last one, bring that foot to the mat. We're going to do one more set of just pulsing the hips up, lift, up, hold. And then we're going to stretch the glutes and go right into the abdominal series for 5, 4, 3, 2, lift, hold, sequentially imprint your spine back down into the mat. And take a breath there. Let's cross the right ankle over the left knee. And maybe that's your stretch, or maybe you bring the left leg up and thread your hands behind the left thigh and start to take a deeper stretch into your hip and glute and your piriformis. Maybe it feels good there. Maybe you press your right elbow into your right thigh to push the right leg away as you draw your left leg in a little bit closer, feeling that stretch through the right hip. And breathe, let your tailbone be heavy. One more breath there. and we'll release that, crossing the other side. So left ankle over right thigh. And maybe just, you could also even just be with the foot on the floor and maybe push the left thigh away from you. But if it feels good, that leg is up and then you're just pulling it, pushing the left elbow into the left thigh, pull the right leg back a little bit further. One more breath. You can stay there all day. And we'll release that. Extend both legs out to straight. Shake them out. Reach the hands up to the sky. Draw the abs in. Pull your pelvis a little bit towards your chin. Lift just head, neck, and shoulders, reaching forward. And lower back down. Inhale, exhale. Maybe you can stay just lifting head, neck, and shoulders, or maybe you come up a little bit higher. And lower back down. Inhale, exhale. Maybe you come up to your belly button. You come up to wherever is all right for your body. That's why I love Pilates. You can really make it about what's best for you today. And then we're going to come up, and let's reach forward, diving forward, and take a stretch over to your toes. So you can always help yourself up if it's not feeling like it's happening this morning. And then let's come into a quick rolling like a ball. So we're going to glue the heels together with the toes turned out, half a piece of slice in between on your sits bones. And then you're going to lift the heels, lean back from the sits bones and lift the feet off the mat. Fingertip touch your ankles. So maybe the challenge is just holding this position. And if you want more, you tuck the chin, tuck your tailbone, roll back to your shoulder blades and come up and balance on your sits bones. So you don't have to go all the way into that. You could just hold, or you come back in a little massage on your spine. 2 more like that, keeping the heels close to your bum. Last one, come all the way up and balance and hold. You stay there, or you bring your feet down to the mat. Otherwise, let's bring legs to tabletop. And then lift yourself, your shoulders down, lift your spine up out of your pelvis, and just take that moment of balance. And maybe you take your hands off of your legs. Draw the abs up and in. And then slowly tap the right toes down and lift. So just little challenges here and there. You stay wherever is best for your body. Last one, each way. And then we're going to let both feet go down and slowly imprint your spine all the way down into the mat. Take your arms a long stretch and then reset your pelvis into neutral, coming into single straight leg stretch. So pelvis is back in neutral. Bring your right leg to tabletop. Bring your left leg up to meet it. Reach your hands to the sky. Lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Extend your left leg long and frame the right knee. Inhale, exhale. We're going to go switch and switch. Lengthen and lengthen. Drawing the abs in. Soften the jaw so you can always have your head on the mat, and then let your legs go closer towards the sky. So they don't have to be low and your head doesn't have to be up. Or if you want more challenge, really lengthen your leg to right above the mat. We're going to do one more each way. Bring it all the way back to center and hug it all the way and let your head bob side to side. Coming into double leg stretch. Legs to table, hands up to the sky. Remember, the head can always stay down. Float head, neck, and shoulders up, reaching your fingertips forward. Inhale, both arms and legs away from the body. Circle to bring it back to center. Pull the abs in. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale. Pull the belly into the spine. Exhale. Lengthen and pull. 2 more like that. So keeping the center very still. Last one. Bring it all the way back to center and hug it all the way in and relax. Drawing circles on the ceiling with your nose to let go of that neck tension. In reverse. And bring it back to center, legs to table. Hands up to the sky. Lengthen the legs up to the sky. Inhale, on your exhale, we float head, neck, and shoulders up. Extend your left leg long and grab gently behind the right thigh. Give a little double pull, leg, scissor the legs, pull, pull. Inhale, so you could also have your head on the mat and legs closer to the sky. They don't have to be a big scissor. Maybe it's a small scissor and the legs are just reaching up to the sky. You stay wherever is best for you. Exhale on the switch. Inhale on the pull of the leg up. You could also reach up towards your ankle. If you want to challenge yourself, you could bring your arms back alongside your ears Inhale, exhale. 2 more each way. Last one. Bring everything back to center, both legs up, hug it all the way in and relax. Rock your low back into the mat. And we'll bring the legs to table. Coming into, actually bring your feet to the mat just to reset, because I like to be really secure in your neutral as we come into double straight leg lower, since this is the most challenging. Fingertips behind the ears, elbows wide to the sides. So feel that nice opening in your collarbone. Your chest is open. Let's bring the right leg into table. So knee over the hip, ankle in line with the knee. Bring your left leg up to meet it. Ankles are in line with the knees. So maybe your challenge is just staying in tabletop today. Float the head, neck, and shoulders up. So you could do the same thing with both legs, with the legs in table, or extend the legs up to the sky. Squeeze your inner thighs towards each other. Inhale to let your legs lengthen away from your body. Exhale to lift. So maybe it's a tiny inch down and a tiny inch up. Maybe your legs are going all the way down to the mat. Where do you feel your transverse abdominis finding its deepest activation? Making sure you're never arching in your spine. So maybe that tabletop is a better position today. Or maybe with the legs up, that micro movement is getting deeper into your low belly. 2 more. Last one, make sure you're always breathing and bring it all the way back to center and hug it in. Always breathing is the key. Even if you're not sure which way we're breathing, just breathe. That's the key. And then bring your legs to table. Fingertip touch behind the ears. We're going to come into obliques. Float head, neck, and shoulders up. Extend the left leg long. We're going to twist, bring the left shoulder over towards the right knee and bring it back to center. Come up and over. You twist and center. Exhale on the twist. Up and over. So pulling bottom rib to opposite hip. Your pelvis stays still. You can also do this by just lifting one leg up. You don't have to have both legs out. So modify wherever you need. Kind of like a little modification today. Last one each way. And bring it all the way back to center. Hug everything in and relax. And then let your body go all the way long. Reaching your arms and leg away from your body. Let everything just wiggle out and melt into the mat. Imagine someone's pulling you apart from either side. One more breath there. Exhale, and then just rolling over onto your left side. Or whatever way, yeah, let's be on your left side, however you need to get there. And we're gonna get into our side work. So your body is lengthened out on a balance beam. You're all in one long line. And then you can bring your kickstand hand to the front, bring your legs just a touch forward. So your legs are a little bit in front of your body. Your heels maybe would be resting on the balance beam. We're gonna let the shoulder rest away from the ear. Feel your bottom waistline engage. We can't forget about that. Sometimes it's easy to forget about that bottom side. Wrap the ribs in, lift the top leg up in line with the hip. Feel like your leg got pulled out of your hip socket, and then sweep your leg any amount forward where your body didn't move, point, and let it come backwards. Flex to bring it forward and point and sweep. So your hand could be your kickstand, it could be on your hip. Where do you feel your challenge? Flex to bring it forward and point and sweep. So the leg is just running in the track of the hip. It's a straight line forward, straight line back. Like if you're going to drag your toes in the sand and you're just retracing that line. The next one will go backwards and you're going to hold it back in tiny little pulses back. A little pulse back for 5. And bring it back to center. Hold in tiny stirs here, stirring it around. Drawing the belly in. Reverse it. Little tiny circles. And then bring that leg back down. Bend the knees to 45 degrees. Angle the ankles up. Or you could keep your feet on the mat. You're going to open the top knee and close for our clamshell. Lift and lower. So if you want the challenge, you're balancing both legs up and try to lift that bottom leg up a little bit higher. So you're going to be deeper into your abs, or both legs can be down, and you can really just focus on the hip, getting that glute med activated. Strong glutes is what's getting us around. And then hold that leg up and tiny pulses up. Little tiny lifts for 5. Last one. We're going to add rotation. The top knee is going to touch the bottom knee. Toe touches the ankle. So just rotating inside the hip socket. Pelvis is staying still. You're on your balance beam. You're not rolling forward. You're not rolling back. If you need to, you bring your hand onto your glute and feel that your glute is doing the work. Last one. And lower that knee all the way down. Drag both knees forward now. So you're in a side tabletop position. Ankles are lined up with the knees. The knees are directly in front of the hips. And see that your knees are stacked. Take your top hand and put it on your top hip. And then give your hip a little push away so you can keep the length in your spine. The top leg is going to just sweep open and then almost touch the bottom leg and then sweep right back up. Flex the foot. We sweep open and close. Your pelvis is in neutral. You have your little bit of lumbar curve. So careful that you're not starting to round your pelvis forward. You don't want to poke your butt out where you're arching. You want to have just the natural curve of the spine. And then that leg is going to come down to hover over the bottom knee in tiny little circles. Flex to the foot. So you get that whole posterior chain of the leg going. Your booty should be feeling a lot of activation, and reverse it. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll lower that leg all the way down and little punch out of the glute. You're going to prop yourself up on your bottom forearm. We're going to come into a side plank. Modification would be bend the bottom leg, bottom arm underneath you, underneath your shoulder, top hand to your hip. You could also have both legs extended, one foot in front of the other, or both feet stacked. So I'm going to do the modification today. You guys pick whatever you want. You're going to lift the hips up to the sky. So that bottom leg is giving you a little support. You feel your bottom waistline lifting. Reach your top arm up to the sky. Long neck, keeping it in line with your body. And then small lower the hips and lift. Small lower and lift. Lower and lift. 2. And last one, lift and hold. And then bring the hips down and just swivel the legs to the other edge of the mat. And get right back onto your balance beam, laying on your right side now. So you got your kickstand hand forward or on your hip, and then bring your legs just an inch forward. So your head could be down or propped up on your hand, your choice. Lift the top leg, flex the foot, sweep the leg forward with a flexed foot, point and sweep it back. Flex to bring it forward and point and sweep. Pull your abs in. Use your breath. So minimal movement in the body, like you're on a petri dish and someone is going to dissect you and pin you in to the tray from the top of your hip through to the bottom of your hip. So it's very even and stacked. Hold this one back, point the toe and tiny pulses back. Can your leg get a little bit longer out of your body? And then bring it to center in our little stirring it around and around. How long can your leg get? So trying to create a lot of length between your bottom rib and your top hip, reverse your circle. So we never want to compress in the side waistline. We want to feel lengthened, and you're drawing your bottom abs up off of the mat. Bring it all the way back to center and then bend both knees to 45 degrees for your clamshell. So legs up or down as you took on the other side, push the top hip away, keep the heels together, open the top knee, squeeze the glute and lower, lift and lower, up and squeeze. So the nice thing about going slow is you can really be aware of your form. Ustan, I love that you have the ball under your head. So you could also be supported with a block or a ball underneath your neck, which is a nice support, keeping your spine in line. And then hold this one up in tiny pulses. Pulse. Breathe. And we add our rotation. So you're going to bring the top knee to the bottom knee, rotate toe to the ankle. We go tap and tap, knee to knee, toe to ankle. Keeping the spine in neutral. So being aware of what's happening in your low back. Support, but no strain. Last one. And bring that knee down. Let's bring the knees to 45 degrees. So the shins are basically lined up with the front edge of the mat. You take your top hip, push your top hip away from you. Flex both feet. Sweep the top leg up any amount that's not going to roll you backwards. And then slowly lower. And we lift and lower. So feeling your whole outside of your hip and glute, doing all the work just to help lift that leg up. 2 more like that. And then bring it down halfway in tiny stirs. And breathe, keep that foot flexed and reverse it. And then lower that leg all the way back down and you can punch the glute out. We just have to come into that side plank. Then we'll meet back in our front plank. So modified, or however you took it on the other side. I like the modified today. It's feeling way more supported for me. Lift up out of the bottom forearm. Bottom waistline is activated. Hand up to the sky. Lift your hips up to the sky. Hold it there. Keeping really wide and broad across the collarbone, long neck. Pull your head back just slightly. And then small lower and lift and lower and lift. So that bottom waistline really getting a lot of activation. Last one, lift and hold. You can either come down or you could go right into your front plank, your choice. We're going to be in a forearm front plank. So you could be on your knees and you could come into your front plank here, or long legs, which are on your forearms and you're supported. Press both hands down, elbows underneath your shoulders, lengthen through the heels to the crown of the head. Draw your abs in, wrap your ribs up and in, holding it here. We're going to make our way up onto our hands any way that feels available, and then take it to your downward dog. So just where we started class, back into our downward dog. You could pedal the knees out here. You could also be in a child's pose. So that would be the alternative here, to take a child's pose and just breathe. And then pressing both heels back, we're going to do a slow walk of the toes towards the hands, if that feels available. And then you could have the knees bent. So you can bend your knees there. Actually, let's just bend the knees and really release to the low back. Let the body just sway side to side. Seeing that your feet are hip width apart. Rounding down to the big toe mount, to the pinky toe. Let the head release. And then slowly, with your abs engaged, start to roll your spine up, vertebra by vertebra, till your head is the last thing that lifts to standing up longer, taller, and stronger than before you came into class. Grounding through your feet, noticing where your weight feels now, how your abs feel, how your whole body is feeling. Hopefully it's stronger. Let's take a nice big inhale up. And exhale it all out. One more time, big inhale up. And exhale. And Pilates Hotties, thanks for coming to class today. Let me stop our recording.